You remember Starsky and Hutch, Kojak and Columbo, but what about Toma or Longstreet? Facts First presents Only True Fans Remember These 70s Cop Shows. Are you one of them? Toma. Toma was a groundbreaking cop show which aired from 1973 to 74. It was created by Edward Hume and starred Tony Musante as the lead role as Detective David Toma. What made this show fascinating was that David Toma is a real person. He's retired now and in his 90s, but in his heyday, he was a tough and dedicated police detective who had many clashes with his superiors, many of whom were corrupt. Despite its relatively short run of only one season, consisting of 22 episodes, Toma was well received by critics and garnered a loyal fan base. The show was praised for its realistic portrayal of police work and gritty storytelling, which tackled social issues and showcased the complexities of law enforcement. Tony Musante's compelling performance as the titular character was a major highlight. His portrayal of Toma, a flawed but deeply committed detective, resonated with viewers, bringing authenticity and depth to the character. Even though it only lasted one season, it's still considered one of Tony Musante's best roles. Even though it didn't achieve a long-lasting presence, its impact and influence on subsequent cop shows can't be overlooked. It set the stage for more nuanced and socially conscious crime dramas that followed in the years to come. Longstreet. Longstreet was a police procedural series which aired from 1971 to 72, starring James Franciscus in the lead role. The show followed the life of Mike Longstreet, an insurance investigator who seeks vengeance after a bomb blast kills his wife and causes him to become blind. The show lasted for only a season and 23 episodes, but it made a lasting impact and garnered a dedicated fan base. One of the reasons for the show's initial success was its unique premise. The idea of a blind detective navigating the world of crime-solving intrigued audiences. It was unusual and risky for the time. James Franciscus delivered a compelling performance, portraying the resilient and determined character of Mike Longstreet with depth and sensitivity. Longstreet also stood out for its thoughtful exploration of disability and the challenges faced by individuals with visual impairment. The show highlighted Longstreet's adaptability and showcased how he used his other senses and intelligence to compensate for his loss of sight, making it an empowering and inspiring portrayal for viewers. Dan August. Dan August was a crime drama series that aired from 1970 to 71. It starred Burt Reynolds in the lead role, and this short-lived role was one of his early successes. It followed the investigations of Dan August as he tries to solve homicide cases in the town of Santa Luisa. The show ran for 2 seasons and 26 episodes. Burt Reynolds is part of the reason for the show's success without a doubt. His performance was enough to make him a household name, and afterwards he continued to receive more roles and eventually become a movie star. Dan August benefited from the popularity of the crime drama genre of the 70s. The show wasn't just about the mystery, but also dealt with the drama and seriousness of working as a police officer and detective. The show is perhaps not as widely remembered, but due to Burt Reynolds' stardom, it's only a matter of time until it has a resurgence. Serpico. You may have seen the great film Serpico, directed by Sidney Lumet and starring Al Pacino. But Frank Serpico was a real-life New York City police officer who exposed corruption in the New York police and made many enemies as a result. Everybody knows the film, but do you remember the short-lived cop show? The series aired from 1976 to 77. It starred David Burney as Serpico, and it showed the gritty and dangerous world of law enforcement. The success of Serpico wasn't as much as the film starring Al Pacino. Nevertheless, there's been a minor resurgence in considering the TV show as a separate piece of work that shouldn't be compared to the film. Joe Forrester. Joe Forrester aired from 1975 to 76 and starred Lloyd Bridges. The show revolved around the life of Joe Forrester, a seasoned veteran cop in the LAPD, as he investigated crimes in urban areas. It lasted a single season, but managed to receive a bit of success and still has a small cult following today. Lloyd Bridges delivered a compelling performance, bringing depth and authenticity to the character. His portrayal of Forrester as a veteran cop who didn't beat around the bush, but wasn't afraid to beat up criminals, won him a lot of praise. It was a similar vein to Jimmy Popeye Doyle from the film The French Connection. The show was also praised for its relevance and willingness to tackle pressing issues of the time. While this might not seem unusual, we must remember the 70s was just the beginning of a cultural revolution in American cinema and television when real-life stories were being told. Joe Forrester told some of these stories that previous decades would have shied away from. Perhaps if it was released today, it would have had a similar impact as shows like The Wire. Get Christie Love. Get Christie Love is the show that one can expect to have a major resurgence and a well-deserved one. The show only lasted a year but became a hit among fans of the blaxploitation genre, which was growing at the time. Get Christie Love was a groundbreaking police TV series that aired from 1974 to 75 and starred Teresa Graves in the title role. The show followed the adventures of Christie Love, a black undercover detective working for a government agency. It was one of the first TV shows to feature a black woman as the lead character, so it was significant in breaking barriers and paving the way for greater representation on television. Just as Pam Grier became an icon for black women in cinema, Teresa Graves had the same status for black women in television. Her role as a fierce and capable undercover detective resonated with viewers, particularly those who'd been longing for more diverse and empowered representation on television. The show also benefited from its timely release during the 1970s, a period marked by social and cultural changes. Viewers were hungry for stories that reflected the changing landscape and addressed pressing social issues. Get Christie Love delivered on this front, presenting a black woman in a position of authority and using her skills to fight crime, while also exploring themes of racial inequality and discrimination. One can only expect it'll have a resurgence or even maybe a remake. Sarge. Sarge was a cop show in the 70s that ran from 71 to 72. It starred George Kennedy in the lead role, playing Samuel Sarge Kavanaugh. Sarge was a police detective who leaves the police force to become a Catholic priest, but he continues to use his investigative skills to solve crimes. It was almost like an American version of G.K. Chesterton's Father Brown stories, which were also adapted to television series and films. But this show only lasted for 2 seasons. Nevertheless, it's gained a cult following since. George Kennedy's portrayal of Sarge was compelling, as he was a tough cop but also a sensitive Catholic priest. The show tackled themes of morality, redemption, and faith. It was something unusual for the time in the crime genre. It made the show more than entertainment and caused audiences to think more deeply after each episode ended. Like so many of the other shows in this video, this series was clearly before its time. Sarge was popular largely due to George Kennedy's popularity in cinema, and fans were eager to see him on the small screen. But Sarge could only find a niche audience and wasn't able to become a major success. Nevertheless, one expects it could have a resurgence due to the changing tastes of today's audiences. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you remember watching any of these 70s cop shows? If you're a true fan, you remember them, and you've probably got a few DVDs lying around somewhere. Do you think that creators have more freedom to experiment with shows these days? Let us know in the comments section below.